r/ask Reddit. What rule was made because of you? So in 4th grade we had this thing called Wax Museum where you dressed up as a historical figure and gave presentation. So my friend was Harry Houdini, and so he had handcuffs. So as 10-year-olds we were messing with them, and my friend put them on me. These were not the cheap plastic ones at the dollar store, they were prop ones made from real metal. So they get stuck, and long story short I was in the office with 3 people around me trying to get the handcuffs open with pens and a pumpkin knife. My sister said when she had to do it there was no handcuffs allowed. Thanks Nathan for trapping me. I was going to my first guitar lesson at school, so I asked someone where the band room was, and he pointed in its general direction. I tried to open the door that led to the room he pointed at, but it was kind of hard to open. So I pushed harder, and a giant bookcase came crashing down onto the floor. I don't have any idea why they put a huge bookcase in front of a push door. But now there's a permanent sign on the door that says, "Do not open this door ever." TLDR, I accidentally pushed down a huge bookshelf and now there's a super angry sign on the door. In elementary school, 2nd grade I think, I had to pee really bad, but I was in music class and my teacher was singing us a song and playing guitar. So I went up to her anyways and asked to pee, and she got upset. And since then she would remind us all that we can't go up to her while she's singing to ask to pee. I just didn't want to pee my pants, woman. When I was 12 I discovered what really is masturbation, and as all boys once experienced, at that age, every occasion was a good occasion. My dad brought me and my sisters to a hotel with a pool and a jacuzzi that we had access to from our room. It was getting late, almost 11 PM, so close to closing time. I was the only one left in the pool area, every blind was closed, I was alone in the jacuzzi, and decided this was the perfect time to jack off. As I finished, I saw one of the hotel staff guys entering the pool area and calmly told me to go back into my room. Since the pools were closed, I went to my room believing I wasn't caught. The next day, the jacuzzi was closed because apparently a kid had sneezed in it and there was snot, which might have happened, but looking back it might also be my fault. About 1 or 2 months later we went back to that hotel and a rule, do not masturbate in the jacuzzi was added. The thing is, 12-year-old me never imagined that security cameras were a thing in the pool area, so looming back it is very embarrassing. Edit, my god, I never expected that to blow up as much as it did, thanks. Now my most dull-voted comment is about me coming in a hot tub. My old job, my numbers were suffering, and I was told I needed to shape up or I would be done. The way I saw it, there was no possible way to meet the numbers by following the process. It turned out I was right. Everyone else came to the conclusion, but no one challenged leadership. So everyone was doing their own thing, then doctoring up the system notes after the fact to make it look like the established business rules were effective. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting fired anyway. I documented everything I was doing different in great detail, showing how my way was faster. Eventually I was found out, and I presented my findings, as well as my evidence of the doctoring everyone else was doing. As a result they asked me to evaluate the processes for the entire department, and I ended up finding numerous areas of waste and inefficiencies, which we implemented to streamline things 2 or 3 times faster than before. On top of that I was placed in charge of a special expedite team, to whom the rules did not apply, and we were given free rein to accomplish our assigned high priority tasks by any means necessary. I've moved on to another division, but the policies are still in effect today, and the expedite team is still a thing. There was supposed to be a cap on vacation time at one of my previous employers. I don't know why no one ever picked this up. It was a startup. Still people had left before I did, but the vacation kept accruing. When I left, instead of 2 weeks in the bank there were 5 weeks in there, and they had to pay me. I'm sure they could have jumped through hoops, but there wasn't anything in the handbook that had a cap in writing, although we were told it was 2 weeks, so they just paid me. The fact I didn't leave on bad terms helped a lot, I'm sure. When I got the check, it was for 9 weeks, not 5. Why 9 you ask? We also had a policy that after 5 years you could take a month-long sabbatical. This was considered earned time, and if you didn't take it and left the company, it was payable as unused PTO. After I left, they made damn sure no one had more than 2 weeks of PTO banked, put out a new handbook, and they ended the sabbatical for new employees going forward. People grandfathered in got to keep it. My high school's marching band is no longer allowed to stack bunk beds at the dorms we stayed at for band camp, bring video game consoles to band camp, visit the girls' dorm at band camp period, sit next to the opposite gender on the band bus trips. All the bags need to be thoroughly searched for all band trips. Note, this was not my sole doing, but the combined efforts of basically my entire senior class in the band. No throwing grass when you're on school grounds. This was in junior high. School grass was just cut and drying up, so in just a few seconds you easily could get a big handful of grass. Friend and I were throwing it at each other. I started it, and a couple other people did after seeing us. They had an announcement each morning for the next couple days to not throw grass. When I first started working as a vet tech, we would put syringes with sedatives for the animals in our scrub pockets for easy access. Then one day I forgot I had sedatives in my pocket cause both the doctor and I had drawn the meds up and chose to use his. Then I bent down to get something and felt something stab me. It was the syringe with sedatives that I injected into myself. Luckily it was a small dose, so they drove me to a hospital and gave me a tetanus shot, and then I went home and slept it off. Now there's the rule: no sedatives in pockets. My cousins and I were banned from playing near glass surfaces when we were younger. When I was 6, my cousin told me I wasn't as strong as him because I was a girl and proceeded to hold the handle of the glass back door shut from the outside. I was pushing on the door to open it and somehow ended up with my left arm through the glass. My mom walked in and was horrified. Ended up getting 13 stitches on my arm, but at least my cousin will never forget the sheer strength of determined women. No more phones in classes, breaks or otherwise. You want to use your phone, dash to the cafeteria and hope that the 10-minute break is worth it and enough. No more going on "cultural exchanges" with other schools. And if we are, then they are going to have to check us for alcohol content. And you have to make a promise that you will never get into any sort of altercations with students from other schools. No more wearing whatever you like. Students now have to wear proper school uniforms. My boys and I acted so wild we literally changed how our high school works. To this day, our juniors fucking hate us. This is in Japan, by the way. Mind, this was one of the most toxic workforces I'd ever been in, and I didn't even get punished for it. The bar was so high for bullshit like this. But no employees are to put their fellow employees on any form of Deadpool or Death Note, nor posted on the break room bulletin board. Yeah, we hated the shit out of each other there. Company didn't want to break the team up, though. There was literally no one else qualified or experienced enough that could replace us on a critical tasking. We were the best they had, and the egos showed their asses. I worked for a place called Taco Del March. I put in my 2 weeks and left on really good terms with the owner. A month or so later the store was sold to some other guy. That was good news for me because I had made a buttload of punch cards and gave them out to all of my friends. The kind that they give you a free burrito after purchasing 10 or something like that. Now I could use these cards guilt-free at my old location. When I made them, I would punch 5 or so at a time, and I guess I punched them in all roughly the same way. A while later I found out the new owner had taped one of my fake punch cards to the register, so employees could compare any punch card presented to them to ensure it was on the up and up. I messed with that new owner pretty bad, for no reason whatsoever. I like to think I've grown since then. The school I graduated from now has a rule that their history teachers can't study serial killers anymore, even as a side or bonus project. My older sister had a project of a serial killer, but couldn't pick one, because like a normal human being she only knew of like 2 or 3, and didn't want to go with one that everyone was going to use. I, however, am not normal, and at the time I was big into killers. Well, my Facebook wasn't private and that was the only way I had to send her links. And no, the thought of using Messenger hadn't crossed my mind. Well, at some point someone's helicopter parent was snooping around students' pages and came across mine. They tried having me suspended out of fear that I was planning something. This was 2013, so about a year after Sandy Hook. When my counselor told my dad, he informed her that I was helping with a school project. Then next week my entire sister class got C's and the project was cancelled. I'd like to mention that they pulled all those serial killer bias from the library as well.